powered by passion. It's National Auto Care's Fixed Ops 5 with your host, National Fixed Operations Training Manager, Corey Smith.
Welcome to Fixed Ops 5. I'm your host, Corey Smith, National Fixed Operations Training Manager with National Auto Care. Today, I'm being joined by Zach McVicker, who is the founder and CEO of Onboardian. Zach, how you doing today?
Doing great, Corey. Appreciate you inviting me on here, man. Super excited.
Oh, me too. This is going to be a great episode. This is called Mindset and Developing Smart Goals for Your Team. Before we jump into it, Zach, give our listeners an elevator speech of who you are and what you do.
So I've been a car guy pretty much my entire career. Father of 4 amazing children. So I've taken and ran a lot of operations inside of the automotive space and even actually a little bit in the RV space. But as a whole, we've created it's a first practice platform, let's just say. We've created innovative role playing, an entire ecosystem for dealerships where try to simplify their tech stack, bring everything into one and help connect and teach in a much easier way by simplifying everything that we do. And so, at a high level, that's what we do. And that's what I'm passionate about, is really changing the perception of our industry and making everything easier.
Well, this episode was built for you then, sir. So 2021 was difficult for all of us, right? We could all say that, right?
Yes.
But especially those in the frontline workers of the dealership. We are now fresh into 2022. This is the time of year that we're all thinking of ourselves and our teams to better ourselves than we were last year, whether it's a New Year's resolution of working out more or eating better or spending more time with friends and family. At the dealership level, what can managers, salespeople, and service advisors do to be a better version of themselves in 2022?
Yeah, it's a great question, Corey. And there's a lot of areas you can go with that, right? It's like, I think first of all, taking a step back on the goals, right? How can I become a better version of myself? A goal is something that you want to accomplish, right? But I think it's more importantly is we've got to start focusing on creating more action plans. In my mind, it's like, it's great that we want to accomplish that. I think it's the first step, but how are we going to get there? And so to start out, that's kind of where my head is we've got to focus more on the action plans and the items that we're actually going to do in order to accomplish those goals and become a better version of ourselves. And so
what resources are out there to keep them motivated?
Yeah. So I think that honestly, this was a struggle for me because I was always looking for that, right? Because for us, anyway, on the sell side, advisor side, we're 90+% mental business where we've got to keep ourselves motivated. We got to keep ourselves, in attention and really working towards our goals. And there wasn't a lot for me, but within the last, year and a half to 2 years, podcasts just like this one, Corey, are probably one of the best resources that you could really find right now. And so that's kind of the first recommendation that I would have to have everybody listening to something like this. But more importantly, I think to stay motivated, we got to stay connected with our employees. I think that's part of the problem is we think that, again, money and certain things like that, goals and numbers are really what drive our people. And we're living in a completely different time now. And so for us, we've got to figure out what's important to our employees. If we want to keep our employees motivated, figure out what's important to them and what they want to accomplish, and then help them accomplish that. That's going to keep them motivated to help you grow your business, in my opinion, anyway. And it's like, you got to track it. That it goes right back to, like I just said, is goals are great, but what is the action items? What are we going to do in making sure that we're tracking those and making progress towards it? Because that's, I think, why most goals are missed. But we got to get beside our people and figure out what's important to them if we want them to care about what's important to us.
I really like that. So if I'm an owner of a dealership, taking what you're saying to heart, I got to get to know my people. I have such a big dealership. How am I going to do that? Right. So do we send out a survey to get to know them? Do I sit with them one-on-one? I mean, what's the fastest way to get to that? Right.
Yes.
Do you have a way of doing that? Is it a survey? Is it just getting the employees to kind of fill in the blank of who you are and what can I do to make you, motivated?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Corey. And I think this is probably one of the biggest challenges for leaders in today's, because for us, we want to turn things around as fast as we can, right? We want to get to this point as quick as we can so we can get to the next thing. But this is a new challenge because this takes commitment and sacrifice for the long-term success goal, right? We got to focus more on that long-term success rather than this short-term game. And so this is something that is going to take time. And unfortunately, I feel like most people, most leaders aren't willing to invest that time to learn about their people, because surveys are great. I think that's good, but that's that consistent ongoing thing. Our people got to know we care. And if we're doing something or we're trying to utilize something that isn't personable, then it's not going to be effective, in my opinion. And so we got to have the conversations. We got to bring our people together. We got to ask them what's going on. Like, hey, what are some of the challenges you're facing? How can I help you? Because in my opinion, a great leader, they move the obstacles out of the way for their people, and so they can become successful. But if we're not even asking what those obstacles are, how are we going to find them?
Right. And some employees are going to have different motivational factors than other employees. Like you and I are similar in age.
Mhm.
I'm motivated by money. Okay. I'll say that. I got no problem with that. The newer, younger generation, they're not motivated 100% by money. They're motivated by experiences or maybe a day off, right? So now you've got to tailor, just like you would if you were selling a car to a customer, you've got to tailor your presentation to that employee, right?
Yeah.
You're not talking to the masses anymore. Those masses we've become smaller, right? Your newer, younger generation has different wants and needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's again a great thing. That kind of leading to a great thing for me is like there's a major, I think, separation. We've got two major generations that right now with in our business, and unfortunately, it's not going to get easier. It's only going to continue multiplying, because you think about the statistic. I think Cox Automotive said by 2025, over 75% of all new hires coming into the auto industry are going to be millennials. It's going to be this younger generation. Well, it's the first generation that's grown up with technology their entire lives. They communicate in an entirely different way. And it's these soft communication skills that, the traditional leaders, people that like us have been in the business for so long, we say that they don't have that ability. Well, it's like they don't have what it takes. No, they want to do things smarter, but they want to do things easier and quicker. And they don't want to do things the way we've done them for such a long time, because they've learned that that's not the most efficient, effective way. And they've got a different creative mindset. And so, yeah, it's for us, I think we have to understand that gap. We have to understand why they communicate differently. And for me, I was always one to just take off and run. Let's go. Let's lead our team. We got to make sure our team's behind us.
Yeah.
We got to make sure they're coming along with us. And so we got to figure out that new way to communicate with them.
Yeah. Because if you don't, you'd be on the island all by yourself.
Yeah,
right.
that's the truth. It's happened for sure. And so, yes.
So do you have any analytics or numbers to kind of back into the dealership to give them some kind of a basis of that? If I spend time getting to know my team, training them, do I retain that employee longer than I would if I didn't? Right? There's all kinds of data out there. What have you seen?
Yeah, this is what I can say. And I think that anybody that's been in the automotive industry for such a long time, so as far as the sales position, the turnover for the salesperson position has continued to grow. It's only gotten worse, and now it's up to almost 90%. I believe I saw, as far as the new statistics, saying 90% turnover in the salesperson position alone. And again, going back to the generation gap, there's a large amount of dealerships that are about to lose a lot of their technicians, because technicians have been there for 20, 25, 30, 35 years. And so for me, it's like, I think there's been so much data that's just really continuously spotlighting that we're not getting better, we're only getting worse. And I did a poll recently and asked, if we sat down with somebody and role play for just 15 minutes a day for 30 days, what do you think that would increase their performance based off of some experiences you may have had with people that you've taken under your wing and done that with? And over half of them said that it would be at least 30% plus on increasing their performance. And so for me, that's more what I would focus on, is the stuff that's going to help us get to our goal, right? And so training and development, it takes more sacrifice and commitment, and again, the long-term gain. And so for me, we've got to take a bigger focus on that. We've got to focus more and really put in the actions that get us those results, because again, it's not getting better. It's only getting worse every single year. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, I really agree with that. And then, and it almost reminds me of, when we all played sports, we didn't just show up to the game and play. We had practice. But for
Yes.
whatever reason, when we started a job, we punch in at this time, we punch out at this time, we go home. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yes.
definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, right?
Yes. Yes.
So I like that short-term training, because I think it will speak to the older generation like us and the younger generation that, doesn't have that attention span or wants to just get going, right? So to
Yes.
have them 15 minutes, start training them on something, a certain topic, and hitting it over and over and over again. Yeah. I mean, if I saw, 10,000 fastballs, I'd be better at hitting fastballs when the time came for me to be in that position, right? If I get an objection from a customer and I overcame it 30 other times, and I get it, I'm a 31 and a live customer, I'm going to be better at it, right?
Right.
I love that. So with this topic, and you really hit a good point on the technicians. The technicians, it hasn't been very good for a while, where you have technicians that want to retire, maybe be an advisor, maybe be a manager, or just want to get out of the business altogether, because it's a lot of pounding on their bodies. I believe going into 2022, you almost have to treat your dealership like a minor league baseball team would. You've got to have somebody in there that you're training, right? When the older person leaves or when the other person wants to retire, and having your own, group of technicians that you're teaching at the same time, I think will obviously give you better depth when that person does leave. You're not like, oh my goodness, what are we going to do next? Right.
Right.
That could be a whole nother topic that we could talk about
Yes.
later. But let's wrap up with, what are your 3 takeaways from this episode in your mind that a service advisor, an agent that's listening, someone in the leadership at the dealership can take away from this episode and really bring back into their dealership?
Yeah. I think for me, again, we're talking about goals at the beginning of the year, right? We've got to create our action plan with our goals.
Mhm.
We've got to create that roadmap, the specific things we're going to do in order to accomplish those. The other side of it is we've got to figure out, and again, I've went through this. We've got to put our pride to the side and understand, just because we've done something this way for so long doesn't mean that's the best way today. And so we've got to figure out a way to connect with our people so much better. And you got to utilize them, because they bring so much to the table if we only ask the questions. And that's the other side of it. We've got to spend more time, we got to invest more time in their development. Otherwise, again, with the fast changing industry we're in, we're going to get further and further behind.
Those are some great takeaways. I really appreciate it. If you want to deliver a legendary customer experience that gets your customers coming back and encouraging them to invite their friends and their family into your establishment, then you've caught the gold standard of customer service vision. Do you want a more cohesive team that delivers a higher level of customer service that will result in more revenue for your dealership? We provide the tools, knowledge, training needed to unlock that potential of your dealership. For more information on this topic and others, or to submit a question or to be a guest on the show, feel free to send me an email, csmith@nationalautocare.com. Zach, that's all the time that we have for today. Really appreciate you being on this episode. And I'm going to ask this question like I ask every guest. Will you please come back?
I will, Corey. Had an awesome time. Thank you for inviting me, sir. Greatly appreciate it. It's awesome. Definitely coming back.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening to National Auto Care's Fixed Ops 5 with Corey Smith, powered by Passion. Be sure to watch and listen to the next episode on the 5th and 20th of every month.